Okay, so we've got this value of the forklift, and we've got T is years, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. V is value, 140,000, 120,000, 100,000, and so on. So first question, how much is the forklift worth after 6 years? So just want you all to just spend 30 seconds trying to figure that out without me telling you. So just look at the graph. The red line is telling you the value for each year. So it's actually telling you the value after initially, that's 0 years. It's telling you the value after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. So take your time. Everybody, see if you can figure it out and just write it down. Let me know when we've all had an attempt. I don't want to just give away the answer right off the bat. Everyone got it? Yeah. Joan?
Yep.
Good. All right. So do you agree with me that if I just go to T, 6 years, right there, and then I go across and I find, look at this. Can you all see me highlighting this number 20,000?
Yeah.
All right. Actually, if I hit control, I can highlight both 6, 20,000. Can you all see that? Here we go, right? So after 6 years, forklift would cost 20,000 with this model. It's an estimation, right? Part B, after how many years is the forklift worth 80,000? Same again, just going to give you all 30 seconds. Try to do it without me giving you the answer. After how many years is the forklift worth 80,000? So this time, hint, you're not looking at the years, you're looking over here to find your 80,000. So you're looking on the left to try to find your 80,000. And then you're going across and trying to read off that red line, how many years that is. So take your time. Everyone have a go, and then we'll make sure you've all had a good attempt. Do we all get a good attempt on that?
Mhm.
All right. So what do we think it is? 80,000?
3 years.
Right, lovely. So 80,000 was there. Go across, hit the red line, go down. Can you see my mouse pointer, by the way?
Mhm.
All right, go across 3 years, right? So 80,000 hits the red line here, 3 years. Part C, find the slope of this line. Find the slope of this line. I want you to all write this down. Slope equals rise over run. Slope equals rise over run. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on paper real quick. We can all see the paper, right? So if I write down slope equals rise over run, we can figure out the slope from the graph. Now, you can take any 2 points. Take any 2 points, and you can figure out the slope. Any 2 points at all. But I'm just going to suggest, just for fun, take between the 6th year and the 5th year. So go 6 minus 5 for the run. So between the 6th and 5th year of life of this forklift, the price went from what to what? Right. So in the 6th year it was 20,000. And the 5th year it was 40,000. All right. So if we took those 2 points, it would be negative 20,000 over 1, or negative $20K. I'll put a K for 1,000. That's how it's represented usually in real life anyway. Negative 20K, negative 20,000. Which, if you look at the graph, a drop of 20,000 each year. Does that make sense when we look at our graph? That the value is dropping by 20,000 each year. Doesn't it look like that? Right. In fact, because it's a straight line, we could have picked any 2 points. It would have given us the same slope. Like, for example, if I pick, year from year 2 to year 5. So what was the value in year 5? The value was 40,000, right? Right, so 40,000. And the value in year 2 was 100,000, right? So from year 2 to year 5, or year 5, yeah. So I'm getting, over those 3 years, the value dropped by $60,000. That's all that slope is saying. It dropped by $60,000 over those 3 years. So that's divide 60 over 3 is, it's just 20 again, isn't it? So again, it dropped by 20,000. A drop of 20,000. So that's the slope. Does that make sense? Lovely. All right. So the next question is, by how many dollars per year is the forklift decreasing in value? Write it down. I'll give you all 30 seconds. By how many dollars per year is the forklift decreasing in value? And do we understand that? Do you all get that?
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
decreasing by 20,000 a year, right?
Mhm.
Which is the slope. That is the slope. Yeah, exactly. All right. And the last. Let me give you time for this. Find the equation of this line where V is the value after T years. Now, here's a skill that would be great to develop. Taking data and making an equation. Taking a graph and making an equation. What a great skill. Take your time. Let me give you a minute or two on this one. Find the equation of the line where V is the value after T years, right? I'll give you a hint. Don't be afraid to make a little table where your input is the T, right? What we usually use for the x-axis, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And make your outputs be your V, 140, 120, 100, right? So don't be afraid to make a little table. That's what I'm going to do anyway. But I'll give you all a minute or two to work on it. Anyone watching from home, press pause on the video. Be awesome to figure this one out on your own without me just showing you. But so give it a go for a minute or two. Press pause on the video if you're watching from home, and then I'll do it. Maybe a little table would be in order. So here's my T. Did I just get rid of my good pen? T and value. So initially, after 1 year, after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, I hope we can see that the graph shows that the forklift costs 140,000, then 120,000, then 100,000 after 2 years, and 80,000 after 3 years, and so on, right? 60,000 after 4 years. You don't have to write all these numbers out. I'm just wanting to really explain this to death, all right? And I made a little table just to make it easier to find our formula for the value. This is years, T is years, and V is value. The value given the number of years, right? So how do we figure this out? Well, in other words, like after, T years, what would the value be? Okay, so like what's the pattern, right? So we can see that it's dropping by 20,000 each year. That's what we found with the slope, right? And so there's a number of ways of doing it. We did learn how to take 2 points and make an equation from those 2 points, didn't we? So maybe we should probably do that. But from the table we can see that's the slope, and you can actually see that this is the y-intercept, the initial value, right? So I'll just tell you right now, you could go what v equals negative 20t plus 140, okay? And that's your answer. You can just, so that's one way. Or the other way is to, you could see these numbers from the graph. You could also take 2 points. So you could take I'll just pick 2 points at random. I'll pick 100 and 380 just for fun. So here's 2 years, $100,000 value, and 3 years, $80,000 value. And I've got 2 points, and I want to find the equation y equals mx plus b. Remember that? So first we find m, all that sort of stuff, right? And m is, it's 80 minus 100 over 3 minus 2, which gives negative 20,000 over 1. We know that. That's the slope of negative 20. And then we find b, right? Remember that? Find b. So we find m, find b. And we can take any point. Let's take this point here. And we plug it in for y equals mx plus b. So we can plug a y value of 100 in there. The slope is negative 20. And x value would be 2 plus b, right? And you would find 100 equals negative 40 plus b. Add 40 to both sides, and 140 equals b, which is the y-intercept. B is the y-intercept, right? And so m was negative 20. B was 140. So now we have the full equation. It's just y equals negative 20x plus 140. Or in this example, it's just instead of y, we have v for value. So v equals negative 20t plus 140. So that's another way of doing it, right? Right? Or we could see from our little table here, look, that's the y-intercept when the x value is 0. And you can see it from the graph. Look, your y-intercept is right there. See, here's the y-axis. It hits the y-axis at 140,000. That's the y-intercept right there. And the slope was negative 20. We just got that. So we could have said, okay, just by looking at the graph, we could just write down, okay, the slope, the y equals the slope, which is negative 20, times x plus the y-intercept, 140,000, right? I'm not putting in the 3 zeros. We'll all assume that this is measured in thousands, right? So that would be fine. Or like I say, y is actually v, so v equals negative 20, and then x is t plus 140, same thing, right? So you could do a little table, you could do your formulas, you could read it from the graph. The bottom line is that the forklift began at 140,000 and it decreased by 20,000 every year. That's the point. That's all we're trying to say. But that's putting it in equation form, right?